city reduced to ashes is how Ukraine's president describes Mariupol. We've seen the images of building after building after building completely destroyed. Now stories are emerging from Mariupol which indicate that a sizable part of the population may have been trapped inside these buildings when Russian missiles, mortars, and bombs struck. Many of them dying unrecovered, uncounted, because they were unable to seek shelter in basements. A new report from Human Rights Watch documents the toll on Mariupol's most vulnerable.
The most horrific to hear about is the experience of people with disabilities, older people who, unlike everyone else that we spoke to, who spent their time sheltering in basements, trying to avoid the bomb blasts and keep safe, for these people, that simply wasn't an option.
Human Rights Watch is getting a better picture of what's happening in Mariupol, a city where now no Western journalists remain. That's thanks to, in the past week, tens of thousands of people, still a small percentage of the city's population, getting out and revealing what's happening in Mariupol.
You know, I interviewed a man in his 80s who lived on the 6th floor of his building, and he described to me how for those 2 weeks, he simply sat in his apartment on the sofa, looking outside the window as explosions were going off, and extremely scared that these would be his last moments.
But don't they have friends, neighbors who are concerned about them that would go and help them get down into the basements?
For these people that we spoke to, they explained that because the attacks, the shelling were so frequent, they would have had to be going up and down constantly. And it was just not feasible for them. And a lot of them raised concerns about using the bathroom because of their condition, particularly those with disabilities who use a wheelchair. They weren't able to use a bucket in the basement, which is how everyone else was using the bathroom. And so they had to stay in their apartments.
Survival for the elderly can be a matter of luck, of their buildings not getting hit before they're rescued from the city. It took 5 days of travel for this wheelchair-bound 77-year-old woman to reach Poland. She described what Mariupol looked like as she escaped. Almost 90% of the city has been destroyed. There are no buildings there anymore, she says. Not since World War II has Europe experienced this kind of devastation of a city. During the last 5 days, planes were flying over us every 5 seconds, says this woman. Even those sheltering below ground sometimes must venture out at their peril. This survivor was near a line to get water.
One fell down and killed like 3 people in front of us. One guy was without head.
The death toll in Mariupol remains unknown, but with so many trapped above ground, the number of casualties could be even higher than imagined, as their homes are bombed into hulks of charred concrete, metal, and ash.